So you've crocheted all your parts of Emmeline Pankhurst. Now it's time to do the fun part, which is the sewing up. So first I'm going to begin by stuffing the body and the head. Then I'm going to sew my legs on the bottom and then stuff the bottom of my arms and sew those in place. Then I will be putting the dress on after that before going on to do the hair, which will be the final touches. And with my length that I've gathered the top of the head, I'm just going to come through down to the face and sew the nose into place just by using that length of your skin tone and sewing around a few stitches horizontally. Then it's time to sew the legs in place. So you've just stuffed the feet, you're not stuffing the legs themselves. What makes it easiest is to sew them flat first. So sew across the top and then just position them on the bottom of the body. Now, mostly people like their dolls to stand, but just in case you want to display your sitting, I would still use the third rules of sewing up that we use with the animals. So draw a straight line down the centre of the head, down onto the bottom of that base and sew the legs on at an angle that forms a third. So now it's time to get her dressed. Now, all the dolls are designed with an oversized head, and that means that you're never going to be able to dress them as you would a child. You're not going to be able to put the clothes over the top of the head. You actually always need to dress them bottom up. Now, you will need to probably be a little bit rough with your doll, but don't worry at all. You can't damage it at all in this process of getting the dress on. So take the feet and put them through the neckline of your dress. I've actually gone ahead and sewn in all my ends first. So I've done that on my dress before I actually put it into place. Then with your hand, pop that into the sleeve once you've got it up to this position where it's at the shoulders. Push the hand in from one end, and in the same way that we do with the stuffing, you can actually use the heel of your crochet hook to push that hand down that sleeve. You can even do the trick of turning the hook round and dragging the hand down if you want to. There we go. So once we've got her dress in place, I'm just going to pop her shoes on, and then it's time for adding some hair. So when it comes to the shoes, if you're never going to undress your Emmeline Pankhurst, she's just going to remain as this on a stand, then I would strongly advise sewing them into place. So leave your ends on your shoes and then just use those ends to actually sew directly through the foot. So there's no chance that those shoes will ever come off in the future. So now it's time to add her hair. And what we're going to do is actually knot on her hair. So you need your chestnut ball of yarn. And firstly, you just need some scissors because we're going to be cutting quite a lot of lengths, approximately 25 centimetres long. So you will need a tape measure or a long ruler if you've got one. And approximately 25 centimetres, we will need quite a lot of lengths to knot on like this. Now, the fastest way of doing that is to actually, once you've cut one like that, just fold your yarn in half like I am doing then. Keep doing that, and then you can cut all the ends at once. That's the way that I find it fastest. So keep folding it across and across until you're struggling to hold that many lengths. And then all you can do is cut in on the end and then through those loops. So you've got lots of lengths of 25 centimetre. Then what we're going to do first is we're going to do the front hairline across the top of the head. So I'm going to show you one first slowly, and then I will speed this bit up because I will be here a while. Don't expect this to happen in 5 minutes at all. So what we're going to do is actually put our hook in through where we want to put a knot length in. Then you grab that and bring it through with that length folded in half, and then you bring those two through there to knot that length into position. This avoids having to do really long loop stitches as you go. So it means you can just add this hair on at the end afterwards. So what we're going to do is go upwards a few stitches and then across a hairline, and we're going to actually work 2 rows of this. So I'll be going right the way across once to set my line, and then I'll come back and I'll just do them right behind them. So with the front of the hairline done, we're now going to do exactly the same thing, but only 1 line of them. So only 1 row of them. So I'm just going to come underneath the ear and then across and down the back in the same way. So with the knot lengths all in place, it's now time to create her a bun. So what you need to do is weigh off 8 to 10 grams. In honesty, you're not going to use this chestnut yarn for anything else. So you can just use your remainder of your ball if you want to, or you could always put more knot lengths underneath first if you find that you've got lots of extra yarn. So what you need to do is just wrap the yarn around your hand like this. So once you've done that, all you then need to do is twist the 2 ends like that, so it twists up upon itself, and just tuck one end inside the other. Now, it's not an exact science that, it's just to create a shape that will represent it being a bun. And what you're going to do is actually use your length to secure it in place. So just be gentle with it when you put it down, because what we're then going to do is secure the ends on the hair and then sew that into place to become the bun. So what you need to do to finish this hair off is gather all the ends together like this. Just straighten them out so that they're as neat as you can get them, and then tie another length of yarn around those ends. Like that. And then what creates that lovely movement in her hair is actually sewing this into place. So rather than it be scraped back like this, what we want is her to have a nice movement in her hair that you'll then see when she's got her hat on. So all you need to then do is sew that into place like that, so that that's firmly attached. Then the last thing to do is to sew that bun on top of that, because when you've tied all those ends in, it obviously hasn't got the neatest of finish. So all you're going to finish it off is with that nice ball like that. You sew that in top so it covers up all those ends, and that way you get a lovely neat hairstyle to finish her off. And I'm just sewing right the way through that bun so it just holds it in place. There we go. And most likely you'll want to sew her hat into position anyway. So once you've got her hair in like that, I would then sew my hat in place over the top. So do you see how you've got that nice movement that you can see either side of the hat because you've sewn that those ends into place and then sewn the bun on top. So sew her hat into place there. That way that won't ever come loose. So last things to put into place will be her eyes. So I'm just using a black length of double knit for her eyes. Like that. And then probably one of the hardest bits, but definitely well worth it, will be using your thread to embroider Votes for Women down her sash. So she will wear her sash on this shoulder like this. So you'll put that in over the top of, I'll have to take it off again to embroider it, but I'll just do that so you can see it for now. So we're going to be sewing Votes for Women across the sash like that, and then sewing her rosette in place as well. So to put the finishing touches on the collar on the dress, I'm going to slip stitch here into this stitch and then double crochet around the edge. So 6 DCs first. So to sew the embroidery thread onto the sash, firstly, I've sewn the 2 ends of the sash together. Then I'm going to cut myself a length and use your picture as your reference. So it is in capital letters that I've sewn it in.